be so you can form new experiences. And your parents, they're going to begin slowly pulling back, and they will eventually stop handing you what you need. But you know what? That is a marvelous thing. It's a scary thing, but it's also a fantastic thing, because this is what will develop you into adulthood. I can see many of you are excited about that. Some of you a little scared, probably a little excited and scared, maybe. But I want to warn you a few things as you navigate this. And then I want to give you some advice tonight. So graduates, this is when I get real. You see, to no fault of your own, you're a generation of digital natives which has lived your life through social media. Probably not coincidentally, this is a generation with perhaps the lowest self-esteem, lowest self-fulfillment, lack of maybe genuine relationships. We become so quick to put a filter on everything, capturing snapshots of moments only to alter the image, only to airbrush our faces. And then we elaborate and exaggerate on how great that moment was, maybe in 160 characters or less. We've buried our faces into our phones, hoping we get a few more likes from that post, often from the same people that we walked right past in the hallway, but maybe haven't spoken to in over a month. As a teenager, you operate with the approval of your peers. It used to be your parents in elementary school. Parents, remember when your child sought your approval? That'll come back around in about 10 years. Some of us spend more time trying to convince others how happy or how awesome things are in our latest snap or our post than it would actually be and actually take time to accomplish that exaggeration. And the result for most of this is that at some point our friends may be mostly online, but entirely superficial. And this is not your fault. I say this to you, not placing any blame on you at all. This is a world that you were born into, a world of conveniences and instant gratification. Sometimes we're able to fix a problem or find an answer with only a few taps or a few swipes on our phone. You've grown up in a world of instant relief to discomfort. If you're bored, you just pull out your phone. You like that song you heard? You go to iTunes, boom, now you own it. You like a TV show? Go on Netflix, watch the whole season. Many of you perhaps haven't even asked someone in person out on a date or if they want to hang out. Everything we do, we can have instantaneously. But this is not how the real world works, and this is not how you will maximize your potential as a person. So the first advice I'm actually giving you is to build deep and meaningful relationships, wherever your next journey takes you. There is absolutely one way you can, without question, have a greater fulfillment in life, and that's through the relationships that you build. These connections you build and the work that it actually involves in maintaining them will benefit you for the rest of your life. But students, listen closely. You need to choose wisely. Your environment will continue to shape who you are and who you become. After the last 4 years, you are most definitely a product of Oxford High School. But from this point forward, you now ultimately choose which environment you will place yourself in. And who you surround yourself with will impact even the smallest decisions you make, which will eventually lead to larger choices, which will eventually shape your life. Surround yourself with people that you strive to be. Place yourself in environments that will stretch you and require all of your commitment and all of your dedication. You know, we usually play it safe to protect ourselves from this discomfort. But I'm asking you, aim high. Don't be afraid to miss. Missing is the best part. In the long term, those misses and those fails will be the best part when you look back and reflect. There's no greater fuel than disappointment, than an embarrassment, or even when your heart is broken. your failures will help determine who you become. Now, you've heard often about what future job market needs are, what the U.S. economy needs are for our workforce, or what the world needs are from our graduates and our young adults. And I'm not going to talk to you about that today. We're going to go internal. And those things are certainly very, very important for us to identify and for, as educators, us to prepare our students for. But students, don't just ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive. And then go do that. Because what the world needs are people who have come alive. And that's a quote from Harold Whitman. And that may take the next 5, 10, maybe 20 years. And that's okay. Because what makes you come alive is called your passion. And finding that passion will be a journey, a difficult journey, but I'll speak more to that in a minute. Finding your passion isn't about careers, it isn't about money. It's about finding your authentic self. And that's the one that's buried deep down within you. Now the truth is, there's not a single student in our graduating class who knows who they are yet. You may think you know who you are, but you have no idea yet. And that's a marvelous, marvelous thing. Now really, if I'm critiquing my words from just a moment ago, life is more than finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself. Life isn't about getting what you want. It's not about what you get, it's who you become. Because there is a person on the inside of you that you haven't yet met. And if you saw them right now, you wouldn't recognize them. One day you're going to face something that you have worked very hard for, but it's not going to be enough. You're going to get rejected, or you're going to get heartbroken, maybe crushed, and you're going to fail. And what I want you to understand is no matter how hard you think you've worked so far in your life, there is someone on the inside of you that works even harder. No matter how dedicated or how committed you think you've been at something, there is someone on the inside of you who is more dedicated and who is more committed. You have to find that person. Because you don't even know what commitment is. But you will. You will discover that person buried deep down inside of you. But the only way to do that is to aim high. Be ready at any moment to give up what you are for what you might become. The next piece of advice I want to give you is, I encourage you to take many healthy risks. Find your place of discomfort. If you're constantly rescuing yourself from discomfort, you're also robbing yourself of the chance to realize your own strengths. And as I said a moment ago, I encourage you to fail. As a matter of fact, I hope you fail. I hope you fail often.
Go get baby.
But only as often as it takes you to realize that your failures are more important than your successes. Every graduate here today has the education and some form of talent to succeed. But do you have the guts and do you have the courage to aim high and then maybe even fail? Because if you don't fail, then maybe you're not even trying at all. Now at some point we've all bought into the idea that you've got to feel ready, or that something has to land right at your feet in order for things to change. We've all bought into this complete falsehood that at some point you're going to have the courage and the confidence. At some point, I know an opportunity is probably going to come my way. And you may think what's missing is your confidence or that perfect situation to present itself. Do not wait until the conditions are perfect to begin. Beginning makes the conditions perfect. Don't wait to be chosen. It's far more interesting to bet on yourself and then dig deep to find the courage you need to produce. Another quote I love is, if you commit to nothing, you'll be distracted by everything. As humans, we're designed to do things that are comfortable. So you will have to decide one of two pains that you will suffer from. The pain of discipline, sacrifice, and hard work, or the pain of regret. Here's another quote I like. To get something you've never had means you have to do something you've never done. Most great things in life don't happen by chance, they happen by choice. Your biography is not your destiny, your decisions are. Nelson Mandela said, "There's no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." Just remember, fear is temporary, but regret is forever. And I'll tell you, that fear of failure, it is real. It's prevented you from trying new things, meeting new people, and taking in experiences that would have only taken you further in your development than you are today, perhaps. But at some point in your journey, you're going to have to jump. You've got to have the courage to let go and jump off that cliff. And I mean this figuratively, of course. You cannot fly or soar to your dreams unless you actually make that jump. Because the only way to reach your absolute potential is to find the courage, take the risk, and jump off that cliff and soar to where your passion will lead you. But if you find enough courage to jump, I have to warn you, I have some bad news. You're not going to land softly when you hit the ground. In fact, most likely you're probably going to get hurt. But you'll have to get back up. You can get back up. You will get back up. And eventually, one day, you're going to look back on that goal you had and that jump that you made, and no matter how outrageous your dream or your goal was, at some future moment, you're going to look back and realize that you were probably maybe still aiming too low. Aim high. My last piece of advice for our graduates in discovering your passion and finding that person that's buried deep down inside of you is that I advise you to have patience. Yes, surround yourself with people you aspire to be, aim high, embrace discomfort, embrace failure, but you're going to need patience and persistence while doing it. And unfortunately, this is the opposite of the world that your generation has grown up in. That is, again, to no fault of your own. Finding your passion, then be willing to sacrifice everything that you have to reach your goals can take a very, very long time. And there are no shortcuts. If you think you found a shortcut, then you are only cutting yourself short. You may have said last June, "Oh, here it is, last year. I'm about to be done. One more year, I made it." But the funny thing is that you're just getting started. We've convinced ourselves that there is some endpoint out there. And for you, it may be graduating next from college or a technical program. But we fail to understand, accept, or even live into the process. And the process is always more important than the product, because the process creates who you will become. And becoming that person who is on the inside of you is an incredibly slow, uncomfortable, meandering, and often messy process. Again, there is no instant fix or improvement. If there is, trust me, then it wasn't worth aiming for anyway. Even the things in life that really, really matter, like friendship, love, fulfillment, and happiness, take a very, very long time. And through this long and often painful and uncertain process, you will begin to carve out and create that person that you were destined to be. And right now, that person is on the inside of you. And through this long process, you will also gain a much more and greater and larger fulfillment in your life from working hard on something for that long, long time. So graduating class of 2018, I want to leave you with one question as my final closing remark. I urge you to ask yourself the following question at every stage in your life. And how you answer this question with yourself may determine your ultimate growth. And like Oxford Community School's mission, it may help you maximize your potential. So here's my question, class of 2018. Do you have the courage to find out who you really are and what you're really capable of? Thank you, and congratulations, class of 2018.